She'd cleaned his blood off marble floors for 3 years, loved him in silence, and watched his wife destroy him with a smile. But when the accident left Jung-hoon paralyzed and abandoned, Sophia finally stepped out of the shadows, not as his maid, but as the only person who refused to let him die. Sophia's hands moved in practiced silence, dusting the shelves of Jung-hoon's study where he'd never notice her. 3 years she'd worked in this cold mansion, a ghost in the corner of a world that barely registered her existence. She watched him through doorways, the way his jaw tightened during phone calls, the rare moments his guard dropped when he thought no one was looking. She'd loved him for 2 of those 3 years. Foolish, impossible love. Jung-hoon sat in his office across the mansion, neck tattoos visible above his collar, reviewing shipment manifests with the detachment of a man who controlled half the city's underground. Power radiated from him like heat. His wife Min-seo swept past Sophia in the hallway without acknowledgement, designer heels clicking, phone pressed to her ear, laughing at something someone else said. Sophia heard it all, the late-night arguments. Min-seo's voice dripping with contempt. "You think I married you for love? I married a king, Jung-hoon. If you ever stop being king, I'm gone." That night, Sophia folded laundry in the service quarters when she heard the crash. Not metaphorical, literal. Metal against metal, screaming tires, then horrifying silence from the front gate security monitors. She ran. Jung-hoon's car was destroyed, wrapped around the estate's stone pillar. The gate guard was already calling emergency services, but Sophia reached him first. His eyes were open, conscious, terrified in a way she'd never seen. Blood ran from his temple, his legs trapped under crushed metal. "Don't move," she whispered, hands shaking as she checked his pulse. "You're going to be okay." His hand found hers, gripped desperate. "Sophia?" He knew her name. After 3 years of invisibility in his worst moment, he knew her name. The ambulance arrived. Min-seo appeared from the house, makeup perfect, and Sophia saw it. The flash of something cold in her eyes before the mask of concern slid into place. What would you do if the person you secretly loved was broken and abandoned by everyone else? Would you step forward or stay invisible? Drop your thoughts below. The hospital fluorescent lights hummed like wasps. Jung-hoon woke to white walls, the stench of antiseptic, and the crushing realization that he couldn't feel his legs. Nothing, just dead weight attached to his body. "Mr. Kim." The doctor's voice was clinical, practiced. "The impact severed several neural pathways. We've stabilized you, but the paralysis, it's likely permanent." Permanent. The word detonated in his chest. Min-seo stood at the foot of his bed, arms crossed, face carefully neutral. Not crying, not reaching for him. Just waiting. "How long until he can walk?" she asked. "Mrs. Kim, you're not understanding. Your husband may never—" "Never?" Min-seo's laugh was sharp, brittle. She looked at Jung-hoon like he was already a corpse. "So you're telling me the great Jung-hoon Kim is broken?" Sophia stood in the doorway, invisible as always, holding the overnight bag Min-seo had asked her to bring. She watched Jung-hoon's face crumble. Not physically, but something behind his eyes just died. "Min-seo," he whispered. "Please." "Please what?" His wife's voice dropped to ice. "Jung-hoon, I didn't sign up for this. You think I'm going to spend the rest of my life pushing a wheelchair, changing diapers, watching you rot?" "I'll recover. You're paralyzed." She spit the word like poison. "You're useless, and I'm done." She turned and walked out. Didn't look back. Didn't hesitate. The room went silent except for the heart monitor's steady beep. Jung-hoon stared at the ceiling, jaw clenched so tight Sophia thought his teeth might shatter. Then she saw it. his hand slowly reaching toward the IV line, not to adjust it, to pull it. Don't. Sophia's voice cut through the air like a blade. Young-hoon's eyes snapped to her. Get out. No! I said get out. His voice broke. You don't have to stay. No one does. I'm nothing now. Sophia walked to his bedside, set down the bag, and met his eyes. You're wrong. You don't understand. I understand that your wife was a coward who never deserved you. Sophia's voice was steady, fierce. I understand that you're in pain and you're scared and you think this is the end, but it's not. Not if you fight. Why do you care? His voice cracked. You're just the maid. Sophia's heart fractured, but her voice stayed strong. Maybe, but I'm the maid who's staying. The next morning, divorce papers arrived by courier. Minseo hadn't even bothered to deliver them herself. Just a lawyer's cold cover letter. Mrs. Kim requests no further contact. She is relinquishing all caregiving responsibilities. Young-hoon stared at the papers, then at the hospital room that had become his prison. His empire, his power, his wife, gone. Just like that. Mr. Kim, a different doctor entered, clipboard in hand. We need to discuss discharge. Your insurance will cover 2 more weeks of inpatient care. Then you'll need to transition to... I don't care. Jung-hoon's voice was hollow. Send me wherever. It doesn't matter. Sophia, who'd been reorganizing his medical supplies, froze. It matters. You're still here? Jung-hoon's tone was sharp, defensive. Don't you have floors to clean? Someone else's life to watch from the shadows? The cruelty was deliberate. He wanted her to leave too. Wanted to be alone with his misery. Sophia's hands tightened around the water pitcher she was holding, but her voice stayed calm. I've called a private care facility. They have space? With what money? Jung-hoon laughed bitterly. Minseo cleaned out the joint accounts. My business partners are already circling like vultures. I'm broke, paralyzed, and alone. That's the reality. You're not alone. Stop saying that. He slammed his hand against the bed rail. You think because you're here that changes anything? You think your pity means something? It's not pity. Then what is it? Jung-hoon's voice rose, raw with pain. Why are you still here, Sophia? What do you want from me? The question hung in the air like a grenade. Sophia could have said the truth, that she'd loved him for years, that watching him in pain destroyed her, that she'd rather die than leave him now. But he wasn't ready to hear it. He'd only weaponize it against her. I made a promise, she said instead, a long time ago, to myself, that I'd never abandon someone who needed help. You can push me away all you want, Young-hoon, but I'm not going anywhere. His jaw clenched. I don't need you. Yes, Sophia said softly. You do. You just don't want to admit it yet. She left the room before he could respond, before he could see the tears burning in her eyes. 3 days later, the hospital discharged Jung-hoon. No family came to collect him, no friends. Just Sophia, who'd somehow secured a modest apartment and medical equipment with what little savings she had. This is insane, Jung-hoon muttered as she wheeled him through the cramped hallway. You can't afford this. I'll manage. Sophia, stop. You don't owe me. I know I don't. She positioned his wheelchair near the window where sunlight streamed through. But I'm doing it anyway. So you can either accept it or make both our lives miserable fighting me. Jung-hoon looked around the tiny space. Nothing like his mansion, his former life. Everything stripped away. He was completely dependent on her now. The mighty Mafia boss reduced to needing help with the most basic functions. The humiliation was suffocating. That first night, Sophia helped him transfer from wheelchair to bed. His arms shook with effort, muscles atrophied from days of immobility. She steadied him, hands gentle but firm, and Jung-hoon hated how much he needed her touch. "Why are you really doing this?" he asked quietly once he was settled. "The truth." Sophia paused, then sat on the edge of the bed. "Because 3 years ago, I was in a similar place. Different circumstances, but I was broken. Someone helped me when they didn't have to. Gave me a job, a purpose, a reason to keep going." "Who?" "You." Her voice cracked. "You hired me when no one else would. You didn't know me, didn't ask questions. You just gave me a chance. So now I'm returning it." Jung-hoon stared at her. This woman he'd barely noticed for 3 years. "I don't remember that." "I know. You interviewed hundreds of people. I was nobody. But you saved my life, Jung-hoon, even if you don't remember. And I never forgot." Something shifted in his chest. Not gratitude exactly, but the first crack in the armor he'd built around himself. "I'm going to be difficult," he warned. "Angry. Impossible." Sophia smiled sadly. "I know. I might never walk again." "I know that too." "Then why stay?" She met his eyes and for the first time let him see the depth of what she'd hidden for years. "Because you're worth staying for." Physical therapy began at dawn. Sophia had researched exercises, watched videos, taught herself how to manipulate his lifeless legs through range of motion work. Jung-hoon gritted his teeth through every session, sweat pouring down his face. "5 more," Sophia encouraged. "I can't." "You can." "Why are you so goddamn stubborn?" he snapped. "Because I learned from watching you." She lowered his leg gently. "In that mansion, I saw how you fought, how you never backed down from anything. You think I'm going to let you quit now?" Jung-hoon exhaled slowly. "You really watched me that closely?" Sophia's hand stilled. The question was simple, but it carried weight. "Every day," she admitted quietly. "For 3 years. I watched you negotiate deals, protect your people, carry the weight of your world on your shoulders. I watched you try with Minseo, even when she was cruel. I watched you be everything to everyone except yourself." "Sophia, I know it's pathetic." She couldn't meet his eyes. The maid falling for her employer, like some ridiculous drama. But I couldn't help it. You were kind when you thought no one was looking. You remembered my birthday once. You asked if I was okay when my hands were burned from cleaning. Small things. Things you probably forgot immediately. Jung-hoon's throat tightened. He did remember. Vaguely. Moments he dismissed as basic decency. "I never meant to love you," Sophia continued, voice breaking. "But I did. And then that night, seeing your car destroyed, seeing you scared, I realized I'd do anything to keep you alive. Anything." The confession hung between them. Raw and terrifying. "You should have better," Jung-hoon said hoarsely. "Better than a broken man who didn't even see you." "I don't want better. I want you." He reached for her hand, this woman who'd stood in the shadows loving him, while his wife stood in the light destroying him. "I see you now." Sophia's tears finally fell. That's all I ever wanted. Sophia loved him for 3 years in silence. Would you ever confess feelings to someone who didn't know you existed? Or would you stay in the shadows forever? Tell us your story below. Days melted into weeks. Sophia learned Jung-hoon's patterns. The nightmares that woke him at 3 a.m., the phantom pains that made him cry out, the moments of crushing despair when he stared at his legs with hatred. But she also learned the man beneath the Mafia boss. "Tell me something real," Jung-hoon said one evening as she prepared dinner. "Not about therapy or recovery, just Something. Sophia smiled. Like what? Anything. I realized I don't actually know you. Your favorite color. What you do when you're not taking care of broken men. Purple. And I used to paint before. She trailed off. Before what? Before life got hard and I had to choose between art and survival. She set his plate down. Survival won. Jung-hoon studied her face. Show me your paintings. I haven't painted in years. Then start again. Tomorrow, I'll buy supplies. Jung-hoon, you can't afford. I still have some emergency accounts Min Seo didn't find, and I want to see what your eyes create. His voice softened. Please. So Sophia painted. In the corner of their tiny apartment, while Jung-hoon watched from his wheelchair. She painted memories, emotions, the years of silent longing, and he began to see her, truly see her, as more than a caregiver. One night, Jung-hoon made her laugh. Actually laugh, not the polite sound she used in the mansion, but genuine joy. The sound filled the apartment like light. You should do that more, he said. What? Be happy. You spend so much energy taking care of me. When do you take care of yourself? Sophia's smile faded. I am happy. This right here is more than I ever thought I'd have with you. Jung-hoon wheeled closer, close enough to take her hand. 3 years you loved me. I was married to someone who hated me and didn't know the woman who actually saw me was right there. Jung-hoon! I was blind, Sophia, and stupid. And I wasted so much time with someone who saw me as a status symbol while you... His voice cracked. While you saw me as human. You are human, she whispered. You always were. He pulled her close, resting his forehead against hers. I don't deserve you. Maybe not, but you have me anyway. They sat like that, wrapped in each other, for the first time allowing themselves to imagine this could be real. The knock on the door came on a Tuesday morning. Sophia answered to find Min Seo standing there, designer clothes, perfect makeup, lawyer beside her. We need to talk, Min Seo announced, pushing past Sophia into the apartment. Jung-hoon's face went ice cold. Get out. Jung-hoon, please. I made a mistake. Min Seo's voice dripped with practiced remorse. I was overwhelmed, scared, but I've had time to think, and I want to come back. I want to take care of you. Sophia's blood ran cold. You abandoned me, Jung-hoon said flatly. Divorce papers, remember? Which I'm withdrawing. Min Seo pulled out documents. I spoke to your doctors. There's experimental treatment in Switzerland. Stem cell therapy. It could restore mobility, but it costs $2 million. Jung-hoon laughed bitterly. I don't have $2 million. Your brother does. Min Seo smiled. Jung-woo reached out. He's willing to pay for treatment if you sign over temporary business control. And I'll be there. As your wife. We'll get through this together. Sophia watched Jung-hoon's face, saw the flicker of hope war with suspicion. The lawyer stepped forward. There's one condition. The caregiver arrangement must end. Mrs. Kim will assume all care responsibilities. No. Jung-hoon's voice was steel. Jung-hoon, be reasonable. Min Seo's mask slipped slightly. You're living in poverty with a maid. I'm offering you your life back. Real medical care, a chance to walk again. All you have to do is come home. And sign over my business to my brother who hates me? Temporarily, once you're recovered. Get out. Jung-hoon's voice was final. Min Seo's expression turned vicious. You're choosing her? There's nobody over your own wife. Ex-wife, Sophia interjected. voice shaking but firm. You divorced him. Stay out of this, Minseo snapped. Young Hoon, you're throwing away your only chance to walk because of some pathetic crush on your caregiver. Wake up. She's using you. She's been here every day while you were spending my money with your lover, Jung Hoon said coldly. I know about Tai Young, Minseo. I always knew. Minseo's face went pale. That's different. Leave, now. After they left, Sophia turned to Jung Hoon. You could have taken the deal, the treatment. At what cost? He reached for her hand. Losing you? But doubt had been planted, and Jung Hoon couldn't ignore the possibility that he was being selfish, keeping Sophia trapped in this half-life with him. That night, Jung Hoon barely spoke. Sophia watched him retreat into himself, the walls rebuilding brick by brick. You're thinking about it, she said quietly. Thinking about what? Taking Minseo's offer, going to Switzerland. Jung Hoon's silence was answer enough. You should go, Sophia said, even though it destroyed her. If there's a chance you could walk again, and be controlled by my brother, be married to a woman who abandoned me? Jung Hoon shook his head. That's not a life. But it's mobility. Freedom. Jung Hoon, you could have everything back. Except you. The words hung between them, heavy and impossible. I'll always be here, Sophia whispered, no matter what you choose. That's the problem. Jung Hoon's voice cracked. You've given up everything for me. Your savings, your life, your future. What happens in 5 years when I'm still in this chair? When you're still changing my clothes and cooking my meals? You'll resent me. You'll realize you wasted your youth on a man who can't even... Stop. Sophia knelt in front of his wheelchair, forcing him to meet her eyes. You think I stayed because I expected you to recover? Jung Hoon, I stayed because I love you. All of you. Legs or no legs. Power or no power. This version of you right now is the man I choose. You deserve better. I deserve to choose. Her voice was fierce. And I choose you every single day. So stop trying to decide what's best for me and just let me love you. Jung Hoon's defenses finally shattered. He pulled her up into his lap, buried his face in her neck, and let himself cry for the first time since the accident. All the pain, fear, loss, everything he'd bottled up poured out, and Sophia held him through it all. I love you, he whispered against her skin. I don't know when it happened, but I love you, and I'm terrified of ruining your life. Then don't push me away. Sophia framed his face with her hands. That's the only way you could ruin this. The only way. What if I never walk? Then we'll roll through life together. She kissed him softly. I don't need you to be fixed, Jung Hoon. I just need you to be here. I'm here, he promised. I'm not going anywhere. 6 months later, Jung Hoon stood with a walker. Not running marathons, not even walking unassisted, but standing on his own 2 feet for the first time since the accident. Sophia watched from across the rehabilitation center they'd opened together. The Phoenix House. Recovery. Resilience. Renewal. Built with loans, grants, and Jung Hoon's remaining connections who proved more loyal than he'd thought. Ready? Sophia asked, wearing a simple white dress. Jung Hoon nodded, gripping the walker, determination carved into every line of his face. The ceremony was small. 20 people, no media, no spectacle, just witnesses to something real. Jung Hoon walked, slowly, shakily, but walked, down the aisle to where Sophia waited. Each step was victory. Each movement proof that miracles weren't granted. They were earned through sweat, tears, and refusing to quit. When he reached her, the officiant began, But Young-hoon interrupted. Wait. He looked at Sophia. 3 years you loved me in silence. You watched me throw my life away on someone who saw me as a trophy. And when I lost everything, when everyone else left, you stayed. You fought for me when I couldn't fight for myself. His voice cracked. You taught me that strength isn't power or money or control. It's showing up every single day, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Sophia's eyes filled with tears. I wasted 3 years not seeing you, Young-hoon continued. I'm not wasting another second. Sophia, you're not just the woman I love. You're the woman who showed me what love actually means. Young-hoon, she whispered. Marry me, not because you have to, not because you feel obligated, but because you choose this every day, just like I choose you. Yes, Sophia breathed. 1,000 times, yes. They kissed as their small crowd cheered. Jung-hoon stood for 15 minutes during the ceremony before his legs began to shake. Sophia helped him back into the wheelchair without hesitation, without judgment. Later at their apartment, larger now but still modest, Young-hoon pulled Sophia close. Thank you, he said. For what? For seeing me when I was invisible, for staying when I was broken, for loving me when I didn't deserve it. Sophia smiled. You were never invisible to me, and you always deserved love. You just needed to believe it. I believe it now. Young-hoon found real love after losing everything. Sometimes we have to lose what we thought mattered to find what actually does. What's one moment that completely changed your life? Share your transformation story below.